Ubisoft, to me, is like an 11-year-old that won't stop telling the same joke. A joke you only found funny the first few times. A joke that was funny, but just by the skin of its teeth. Where a solitary praise on the freedom of target boards condemns us to an aimless and endless loop, assassinating the same uninspired antagonists with nothing but a shiny new coat of paint. Well, I'm certain you've already guessed, but Assassin's Creed Shadows' Claws of Awaji is the joke. And if Ubisoft was a corporation run by socially awkward 11-year-olds, it would have been excusable. But it is not. Let me lay one simple ground rule first. I'm not here to talk about the good or the bad of Assassin's Creed Shadows unless it's relevant to understand something I'm touching on. That would make this video far longer than I intend it to be, and this is primarily a review of the DLC. I'm also including timestamps because I know that some of you just want to see me shit on this game, and I gotcha, I get it. With that in mind, let's discuss the good, and there is some good, however buried under tedium it might be. The bow staff is magnificent, truly. It's animated with so much character. It gives me Black Myth Wukong vibes in the best way.
The nature of monkey was irrepressible.
As a weapon, it has impressive depth. I kid you not, I used nothing else as soon as I snagged one. Your posture attacks, the light and heavy variations both have 3 stances. High to surprise an enemy with a swift strike that staggers them. Neutral to close or create distance. And low to trip an enemy, leaving them vulnerable to a ground attack. Just this addition to the weapon gives the player incredible control. Never before in an Assassin's Creed game has a weapon given me that feeling, and if I'm honest, Ubisoft needs to thank the legend that designed this thing for absolutely carrying the experience. The DLC itself opens up with a nicely crafted side-scrolling introduction to the island of Awaji, and some much needed updates on the whereabouts of Naoe's mother. There are some beautiful scenes and set pieces here that change the pace in such a refreshing way. There are also some really tasty cinematics here which are much improved from the base game. I have too few memories of really enjoying a cutscene in this series. It was nice to feel that way again. Awaji was also nice to explore, if only visually. It's a little denser, and Assassin's Creed Shadows has always had some of the best foliage I've ever seen in a video game. It's only improved upon here, and some of the atmosphere is just incredible. The bosses throughout are a big step in the right direction for Ubisoft. They are by no means revolutionary, but certainly far more engaging than I expected. There is even what I think is a Metal Gear Solid inspired boss fight here. I appreciated its novelty, though I do think that having most major targets end in a boss fight strays a little far from working in the dark to serve the light, which is supposed to be the whole shtick here. Stealth is built upon, if only slightly, with tripwires and trapped chests in the mix to throw you off your game a little. I like the addition, I did. They attempted to also deepen the scout mechanic by allowing the main antagonist Spy Master to detect them and retaliate by strengthening security in the area. It's a small baby thing, but it was a nice touch. And there we have it. I think that's about all I can manage to say without throwing up. Allow me to frame this in a way that helps you understand my vicious frustration with the way this DLC goaded me into reigniting my relationship with this game. Like an abusive husband promising that, in fact, he did change and he's not going to start beating the shit out of you as soon as you get comfortable again. I touched on the pretty introductory sequence, the sweet talk, I'm putting in effort this time, look, I cleaned the house, the bow staff, the bribery. Honey, I bought you chocolates and flowers. They're your favorite. There was even a honeymoon phase. The first act is back to form. It's more focused. We're developing our protagonists and giving some character to our antagonists. It's not great, but my standards and expectations had already stooped so low. Anything was welcome at this point. For a moment, I was hopeful. Things were working out between me and Ubi. They'd grown. They really had gone to all of their AA meetings, and they don't even know what alcohol smells like anymore, they said, as if a few mints and a swig of mouthwash would erase the scent on their breath. And I believed them, because I wanted to. Then they beat me over the head with another fucking target board. Multiple, in fact. Oh, and don't let me forget, one of them is worse than any target board we've ever gotten in this entire series. One of the main antagonist's 3 lieutenants is some big asshole called Tameji. He's not man enough to fight you one-on-one, so he sits all pretty with his captains. You have the option to fight him alongside all of his 14, that's right, 14 captains, but he's a pretty formidable foe, and if you don't want to smash your head against the wall trying to do that on one of the harder difficulties, you're gonna have to thin the herd a little. Well, that's not so daunting, is it? Yeah, nah, but the only tip we're gonna give you is that if you help civilians, they might reveal a captain's location. The emphasis is on might for 2 reasons. One being that I had to aimlessly gallop around the entire island for ages just to find someone to help. And 2 being that when I did, they didn't even tell me where the captains were. It doesn't end there, because I discovered that you can provoke the captains to show themselves if you kill a bunch of guards and stay in the area long enough. Except it seems completely arbitrary because I was only able to trigger it twice among like 10 separate rampages. I think I could have ran for office in Awaji on policy positions that would systematically genocide the island's populace, and they still wouldn't have come out to challenge me. At the very least in the marketplace of ideas, am I right, guys? Well, just my luck. It doesn't end there either. Because for me to kill all of these captains, I had to look up the places they would patrol, pick a stretch of road with a few of those zones on it, and go up and down this road for, I shit you not, a few hours to finally find them all. You can turn on guided exploration mode. It will immediately find all of them for you, but is the person torturing me really absolved of their sins if they tell me they can end it quickly? Obviously not. And the cherry on top is them revealing these captains to you one by one, as if they're actually giving you any information beyond the same, if you help a civilian, we still won't bloody tell you where the captains are. Oh, and the cherry on top of the cherry on top is that the reward for killing all of them is an amulet that gives you 50% damage reduction while, get this, climbing. What? Who cares? I was pretty certain that we, as a community, were kind of unanimous in our dislike of the gratingly aimless Act 2 in the base game, with like 100 target boards. Even if they completely ignored every criticism levied at them, I still don't get how they could have made it worse. Now, beyond this rant, there are a litany of other little things that completely soured me on the experience. They decided that, to further diversify the gameplay, they would proudly introduce, instead of Sumie for animals, Sumie for landscapes. And there's so many, there's 3 of them. They also introduced a seemingly cool mechanic that had shinobi set up tripwires on the road or disguise themselves as civilians in towns and ambush you. This, I think, gives us the answer to whether this company is run by teenagers, because it happens genuinely every few minutes. And not only that, it happens almost every time in the same exact spots. And don't get your hopes up, I'm not quite done just yet. This old man still has to yell at some clouds. There were a slew of technical issues I had not experienced in the base game, which is awesome, like stutter in gameplay and cinematics, the newly added headgear visible during cutscenes setting apparently flipping a coin when deciding whether to work or not, and the game unequipping all of my allies at random, so much so that I actually thought it was a narrative related consequence of me being on a different island. And get this, the pip in the cherry on top of the cherry on top was that every once in a while, half or almost all of the sound would cut out and only restore when I restarted the game. I had to suffer through some of the cinematics I said were actually good with this bug. No! No, I don't recommend this DLC. I think you could have guessed that by now. Unless you have Stockholm Syndrome. And you know what? In which case, go for it, my friend. But it's kinda not my thing. Thanks.